The views and opinions of this broadcast do not reflect the views and opinions of Armed Media, New Productions and its affiliates. Enjoy the show.
Live from Boston, Massachusetts, you have Unscheduled with Les Skymo and Dave, the Dave, what I like to call him. I want to say thank you to all of our troops around the world. Thank you for your service and for keeping us free. God bless you. And we're going live on Facebook also. And folks, we got our phones up and going here. And been working with this new soundboard and you know, Dave, I think we may have it this time.
I think we do.
A few changes, and folks, you can call in at 1-800-508-5431. And want to thank Joe Savino, and also want to thank Jimmy. Jimmy, he produces all these programs, and his sidekick Paul. They're great guys. I just want to put a thank you out there for what they do for us and keep us going. And so, Dave, you know, I was looking today and got to pondering on the Founding Fathers a little bit. And, you know, you hear this statement, people are like, you know, keep religion out of politics. Ought to keep religion out of politics. I hear that a lot, you know. And to me, politics and religion, and even if you don't have no religion, you know, you still, you got to take care of your daily things. Your life goes on, whether you're a Christian or an atheist, or, you know, you still have the same needs as we do, you know, food, clothing, all the cares, you know, that we have, you know, other denominations have, other people, like I say, people that don't believe in God, they still have the same things going on in their lives, you know what I'm saying? In that respect, we're all the same. And, but, you know, I got to thinking about our Founding Fathers, and our government affects all of us. It don't make no difference whether you're a believer or not. This thing affects all of us, our government. And we can't, these days, Dave, we can't get away from our government, you know. But I looked this up, and I'm going to read this verbatim. The Founding Fathers considered clergy. Now, this says this: the colleges the Founding Fathers graduated from were seminaries. They're a lot different than what they was today, because you guys are going to recognize a lot of these names, David. But
Harvard?
Yeah. Now, believe it or not,
Yale?
These was Christian-oriented and some of them Catholic-oriented colleges. It meant it was a different college back then. They actually taught morals and values and things like that. Some of them they graduated from Princeton, Harvard, Yale, and most of the Founding Fathers were not pastors, but were church officers, elders, managers, or founders of Bible societies. And it says almost half of the signers of the Declaration of Independence, as well as most of the Founding Fathers, graduated from Orthodox Christian teaching ceremonies. And you got guys like this that founded our country, and people was wanting to take religion out of it. I mean, it can't be done and have, I don't think, Dave, and have a moral society I mean, I say that. I don't say that knocking anybody. Like I say, there's a lot of people out there that are not believers, and there's a lot of good people out there. There's a lot of moral people out there, Dave, that don't go to church and things. Mm-hmm. But I think the Christian foundation, I think what that does, Dave, is it's exactly that. It's not a man-made foundation. It's a foundation that's something bigger than we are. See, it's like comparing granite to cement. Now you can pour a sidewalk out here, and then you can set a granite rock beside it, and you take a sledgehammer to both of them. You're going to do a lot more damage to the cement with a sledgehammer than you are the granite rock. Okay, I had a couple granite rocks. We lived up on the Penroll there. I had a couple big granite rocks in my way, my motorcycle track I put in there. And I knew granite it's the hardest rock I think on the face of the earth.
It's pretty hard.
My sledgehammer just bounced off of it. And every once in a while I'd knock a little chip off. So guess what? I give up on the idea of busting them rocks out of the way, and my motorcycle track went around them.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm coming from. And,
Lester, one of the things about granite and stone for that matter is that when God told the Israelites to build him an altar, it had to be of unhewn stones, meaning that no tool could come in contact with the stone to cut it in any way. They had to find stones that would fit and be stacked and not be cut.
Right.
That was one of God's rules, that they were unhewn. You had to make it out of uncut stones, the way God made the stones.
Right.
So you had to stack those stones to make your altar. You couldn't cut them with a tool, and that was one of the laws of God.
Right.
We are a nation of laws, and I think where you're seeing the country go wrong is there's a lot of lawlessness going on right now, if you think about it.
Right.
Even from the very head of the FBI, the Justice Department.
Right.
And the lawlessness is based on men's views and not the Constitution.
Right.
And I found this the other night, and it was by attorney Mark Levin. If you like Mark Levin.
Oh, yeah. I sound like him sometimes. Hang on now.
Get this now. This is startling.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Appointments Clause of the United States Constitution.
Uh-huh.
It's Article 2 of that Constitution. And Robert Mueller, according to the U.S. Constitution, it is illegal for what he's doing right now to be done. This is what it says.
Right.
The President of the United States appoints the Congress to the Congress, or appoints a U.S. attorney, and then the Congress, it's their responsibility to approve that nomination for U.S. attorney. And then they become installed as a U.S. attorney. Now, what's going on now is Rod Rosenstein, who has no authority to appoint anybody to anything. He's not the President of the United States, and Congress has not approved this Robert Mueller to do this job as special counsel.
Right.
Now, he's equivalent to a U.S. attorney. The reason I know this is because Mark Levin said that he had 2 or 3 of his men in the Eastern District of Virginia with powers of U.S. attorneys. And they haven't been approved by Congress.
Right.
They weren't approved by the President of the United States, yet he's doing this illegally.
Right.
So everything he's doing right now is illegal.
Right.
He can't do that under the Constitution of the United States.
You know, the reason President Trump don't fire him is because of the backlash. And not only that, I think he's smart enough to know this thing's going to melt down on its own. Mm-hmm. Now it's come out that Robert Mueller, he's tainted from having contact with the Russian oligarch himself. But now that takes me to this, Dave. Now you're talking about Now, when we're talking about a nation of laws, okay, now we're not talking about the so many of the laws we have today. We're strangled to death by laws. Our government is like the Pharisees in the New Testament.
Local law, state law, federal law, all these different laws.
You got
books and books and books
yeah,
of laws.
You got ordinances.
Right.
You got codes. You got executive orders. But right down to your local level, you can, as soon as your feet hits the floor in the morning, okay, you're subject to break laws that you ain't even heard of.
That's right.
Now, Jesus told the Pharisees, he said, hey, he said, you all stand on a street corner. Now, this was the religious leaders of the day. And Jesus told them, they kept adding to Moses' law, And Jesus told them, said, you stand on the street corners and you disfigure your faces like you're in pain and agony, and you pray out loud for everybody to hear you. You've added to your garment. You've lengthened your garment. You've enlarged your phylactery, which is a little box with the scriptures on it, which that had a biblical dimension to it in itself. Okay, but they took it on themselves.
Yeah, God ordered them to do that.
Yeah, but see, they made it.
Deuteronomy.
They went outside of what God told them, made it bigger, and Jesus said, you're like a sepulcher that's been whitewashed, and it looks really nice on the outside, but the inside you're full of dead men's bones.
Exactly.
And it's the same way with our own federal government, Dave. It's so out of hand. Our local government is out of hand. And I'm glad you brought that up, Dave. I bet you most people don't know. Now, this is under the Obama administration. Did you know that in 2010, the U.S. Agricultural Department bought 85 fully automatic submachine guns? Did you know that?
No.
Okay. Did you know that we have 73 federal agents that have arresting powers? That has never went through Congress. It's never been approved by the Senate. These bureaucrats, they make up their own rules. They make up their own laws. They have arrest powers. They've got all three branches. They exercise all three branches of government inside their department, and Congress has nothing to say about it. These agencies are supposed to be under the watchful eye of Congress.
Exactly.
Now, what's going on right now with Rosenstein and DOJ and FBI and CIA trying to, here comes the ambulance. That's why we need a soundproof studio. He gone. I hope they're okay. But, Dave, these agencies are not being compliant with our House Judicial
That's exactly right.
committees. Yeah. They're like their own government.
The Congress created the Justice Department and the FBI. All these departments are held accountable by the U.S. Congress because they are elected by the people, and the people who elected them desire them to be an oversight of all these people doing lawless stuff.
Right.
Now Rosenstein, he just decided, well, it sounds like a good idea. We'll just take Mueller and we'll make him investigative authority over all this stuff. But it doesn't work that way. And what happens, what should happen is all these people that's been indicted should have their lawyers file suit saying that what he did was illegal because he shouldn't even be there, and take it all the way to the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
And see if the Supreme Court won't agree that it's unconstitutional.
Right.
That this under Article 2 of the Constitution, he has no authority.
Right.
Rod Rosenstein and Mueller has no authority but that which is given by Congress, and Congress never gave them authority to do nothing.
Yeah, right. But see, it goes on and on. Now, where is the power of Congress to rein these people in. I mean, it's like pulling teeth, them trying to get some. That our government is not supposed to be that way, Dave. These people, the FBI, see all these 73 agencies. Okay, number one, they have no business having arresting powers. They have no business with firearms. Now you take the Bureau of Land Management. You look what they done to the Bundys, and the Bundys, they was in prison and everything, and ultimately found not guilty. When the wash, they called it, when the Bureau of Land Management seized their cattle, and all the people in Nevada, they went to the wash, and they stood down to BLM. The public did that, rallied around them, and if somebody would have fired a shot, son, they'd have been a bloodbath. But the public stood up to the Bureau of Land Management, and the Bundys was right, but they paid a heavy price for that. Now, one of the Bundy boys, not Ammon, his brother Ryan, he's running for governor out there in Nevada, and I pray that he wins. Dave, there is roughly the equivalent of 40 officers per 100,000 U.S. residents. Now that's ridiculous. That's obscene, brother. And like I said, these agencies, this has never been approved by Congress. They make their own rules. They make their own regulations. And just to give you, and we're going to get into the size of the government here, but it's the same thing. They're doing the same thing that the Pharisees did in the Bible. They're adding on. They're cranking the screws down on people that's supposed to be free, Dave. They're cranking the screws down on us. This type of government that we have is designed to extract as much wealth as from you as it can, to keep and to see it, and eventually it's going to pop. They're going to put so much pressure on the people. Sooner or later, there's going to be a rebellion.
That's true. But have you seen lately what's going on? How the Democrats take up for like MS-13.
Oh, yeah.
When Donald Trump, the president, says MS-13 is a bunch of animals. Well, they are.
Exactly.
If you compare to what they do.
Yes.
And the left has a problem with evil and calling evil for what it is.
Right.
When Ronald Reagan called the Soviet Union an evil empire, and the Democrats went crazy over that. Yeah. They hated that.
And they rent their clothes and
exactly.
out to the sky.
But it was the truth. And
yes, right.
But yet, what did they say about the unborn? They said, kill them, kill all you want.
Yeah.
But yet, Nancy Pelosi said this the other day. Said concerning MS-13, she said, "Well, they're all children of God." Well, what about the unborn, the innocent unborn? She said, "Kill all you can."
Yeah.
As far as that goes, but as yet MS-13, who are potential voters, Hispanic voters, she says, "Well, they are, after all, children of God, and we must respect them." But the thing that got me, though, the topper was E.J. Dionne in the Washington Post, dated May 20th, 2018. He wrote this. I'm going to quote it. "It's never right to call other human beings animals. It's not something we should even have to debate. No matter how debased the behavior of a given individual or group, no matter how much legitimate anger that genuinely evil actions might inspire, dehumanizing others always leads us down a dangerous path." Now, isn't that ridiculous?
That's kind of like, well, if we waterboard them, they'll cut our heads off.
But
of course, ridiculous.
Of course, you could say stuff about evil people, call them animals. Well, didn't Jesus Christ call the Pharisees vipers?
He called them vipers.
Snakes?
Yes, sir, brother.
Didn't he call them that?
He called it like he's seen it. Evil's evil, Dave.
If you're evil,
lipstick on a pig and it's still a pig.
But that's the problem. In this country today, what is evil is considered good, and what's good is evil.
Bible prophecy.
Exactly. That's exactly where they've gone. They've gone to calling the evil good and the good evil. Like a woman that wants to have her baby, wants to go full term with the baby.
Yeah.
It's considered evil if you pass a law to prevent abortion.
Right, to save that life.
To save that life.
Right.
It's considered evil.
Right.
And they say, well, you can't do that because every woman, it's a health care issue.
Yeah,
I'm getting so sick of hearing that. It's not health care when you kill a baby.
She got a right to do with her body what she wants.
And it's not her baby. It's her. It's not hers. It belongs to God. Her baby belongs to God.
There's no place. You've delivered over 100-something babies when you was in the Air Force.
Right, I've seen life.
You've seen life
many times.
At the second it hits, it breathes its first breath. It's moving when it comes out of there, ain't it?
They're formed perfectly.
Right.
Even at 4 months, they got little hands, little fingernails, little feet.
Right.
But they're smaller, but they're formed.
They're just
I've seen premature births where the baby died. Well, this has been 40-some years ago, but they weigh maybe a pound or two or less, but they're perfectly formed.
Yeah.
You can count their fingers, you can see their fingernails, you can see their features. They're
perfect.
They're perfect.
Yeah. Even when there's a birth defect, it's still a perfect human being, Dave, because those cells done what they were supposed to do, whether they're flawed or not.
Right.
They operated and functioned in the proper manner to produce that human that has been born. Whether it has a birth defect or not, Dave,
right? It's
perfect life, And can you tell me, where the baby, I hate calling them fetus, can you tell me where that little baby is connected in any way to that woman?
Well, there is an umbilical cord that attaches to the placenta, which is in the lining of the uterus, which it gives the baby nourishment and oxygen, but that's all. The blood types are separate.
Is it growed to the
Everything's
woman
separate.
anywhere?
It detaches after birth.
But there's blood vessels.
Well, yeah, there's oxygen passes through the membranes in the placenta and is transferred into the baby and into its baby's bloodstream, but only the nutrients and the blood's not interchanged. That's
right.
That's the thing about it.
Right.
Is that the blood of the mother is not interchanged with the blood of the baby.
It produces its own blood.
That's why Jesus Christ was born of a virgin.
Yes.
Because a man's sperm was not introduced into a woman to cause the conception. This is a conception, immaculate conception by God Himself, that only the seed of the woman. That's why He speaks in Genesis, the seed of the woman, because there was no seed of the man.
Right.
And that was the miraculous birth, why Jesus Christ was not born into sin, because there was no man involved. The sin of Adam wasn't transferred to that woman. That's why it's necessary to have had a virgin birth.
Exactly.
It's without a virgin birth, you have no salvation.
Well, see, and it all makes sense if you sit and think about it. I know it's the stuff. This is real deep, folks, but now that it's the facts. Dave, it's the facts, and and just like what I'm getting at here is not only, people like me and you, we can't get away from these kind of issues, Dave, because it is a matter of life and death.
Yeah, it is.
It's a matter of right and wrong. It's not a matter of Christian people having authority over other people. It's about us standing for what's godly.
Right.
Is what it's all about.
Exactly.
And people say, well, you don't judge me, don't judge us. You shouldn't judge people. But here's the thing, Dave. The bottom line is sin has already been judged. I can't judge homosexuality. I can't judge perversion. It's already been judged, and it's sin. I didn't write the book.
Right.
I'm just a messenger. You're just a messenger.
Getting back to the word list, in the book of Jeremiah in the Old Testament, this is Jeremiah chapter 1, verse 4. It says, "Then the word of the Lord came to me, saying, Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I sanctified you. I ordained you a prophet to the nations." Then I said, O Lord God, behold, I cannot speak, for I am a youth. But the Lord said to me, do not say that I am a youth, for you shall go to whom I send you, and whenever I command you, you shall speak. Do not be afraid of their faces, for I am with you and deliver you, says the Lord. Now this is Jeremiah speaking. God knew him before he formed him in the womb.
Right. Yes.
So people say, well, these are not human beings. Well, if you let, after conception, if you let the woman carry that baby for 9 months, you will have a baby.
Exactly.
You will have a full-grown baby.
The body functions perfectly.
So if they take the baby out at 3 months, you've killed that baby.
It's dead.
Because you've prematurely killed that baby.
Right.
Because it hasn't grown inside the womb.
Right.
You've killed it.
Right.
And the Bible says that God hates those who shed innocent blood.
Yes.
And how much more innocent can you get than a child?
Now let me say this. Now, Dave, here's the beauty. Here's the beauty of it. When a woman comes to the knowledge that she has murdered her baby, God will forgive you for that.
Sure he will.
And it's just like it never happened. And then, you'll see that baby again.
The baby's in heaven.
And it won't be held against you. Now, I know this is heavy for some people because as human beings, we like to make our own rules. We like to do our own thing. But Dave, I found out in my own life that I've submitted myself to the Lord and not doing what I want to do, not saying the things I want to say. Man, my life, it's just like an old car. It just puts the road and it just drives it straight. Now, sometimes that road gets rough and it's full of hard times. It's full of potholes. Sometimes even the bridge is out. But you know what, man? I mean, it works out. We are our own worst enemy, Dave. And me and you come from where we done things that was destroying our own body. We were shortening life. Life is a gift from God. It's a beautiful thing. And when I was young, and I took it, I took that for granted, Dave. I abused my body. I done things to put things in it that was shortening my lifespan, and I had less money because of those things. I had troubles. I had troubles from other people. Things it was always, it just didn't, it was much more of a struggle to live back then than it is now to live for Jesus. Life is not such a burden anymore.
The Lord said this, Jesus said this, he said, the flesh doesn't profit you anything. It doesn't. And when you try to live your life with drugs or sex or whatever you want to affect your body with, it doesn't satisfy, and it never will satisfy. You can't get enough of it, whether it's money or power, women. It doesn't make any difference.
Have a desire to do it.
You always have to have more, and it never satisfies. Yeah. So if you were to gain the whole world and lose your soul, what does it profit you? You've satisfied the flesh, but when you die, when you're on your deathbed, you're not going to ask, well, did I make enough money?
Right.
Or did I have enough women? Or did I have enough this or that?
It's irrelevant.
Right. Solomon figured this out. If you read the book of Ecclesiastes, he thought it all vanity. The richest man in the world. He had everything. Yeah. His hinges for his stables were gold. I mean, to keep his horses in.
Right.
I mean, he was wealthy beyond imagination. He had all these hundreds and hundreds of concubines and wives. This is, and he had phenomenal amount of money, and he had wisdom. But yet, the thing that he had in the beginning, he lost in the end, and got it back, was wisdom.
Right.
Because it's not a wise man that would have that many women.
Exactly.
You think about that.
Yeah.
That would do you in. If you had 800 wives and concubines, that would be just plain crazy to do anything like that. But yet, he got his wisdom back when he wrote the book of Ecclesiastes. And Solomon was the second born of Bathsheba, who David sinned with.
Right.
The first baby died.
Yeah.
And David said, well, I can't go, he can't come back to me, but I can go to him.
Right.
And he's talking about when he died. And David died a relatively young man. If you look in as far as other people in the Bible figures lived, he died at age 70.
Yeah.
Because he was on the throne for 40 years.
Right.
He took the throne at approximately age 30, and he lived till age 70, and then Solomon took over. So, but wisdom doesn't come from the flesh; it comes from God.
Right. Bring that back up, Janet. I want to read this in Proverbs. And David, we know this from experience, and this we've lived this. And Proverbs 13:15 says, "Good understanding giveth favor, but the way of transgressors is hard."
Sure, very hard.
We learned that. We learned that the hard way. Mm-hmm. Now, getting back to our government, that is the root problem of our government, Dave. That's the root problem.
They've taken God out of the picture.
Exactly. And they've ruled by man's laws, and they've got away from the common law. They've got away. Now, see, this country was founded on constitutional and common law. Now, common law in its purest form, and it's been tweaked over the hundreds of years, but common law in its purest form doesn't have a death penalty. But constitutional law does. Okay, it allows for the maximum penalty, which is death. Now, when you put them things together, you had a constitutional America, but our government has gotten so far away from that, it's even legislated away from that. And here we go, 1871, you cannot get away from it. That's when they stole our constitutional government. And but you know, there's a glimmer of hope in the times that we live in. Now, Dave, me and you, we can't just reach and grab it and fix it. No matter how much Bible we preach, no matter how much we stand on a street corner and cry out, we've got the ballot box or the barrel of a gun. We're down to that right there. And we know now, like our whole show last week was about the embassy going into Jerusalem. Mm-hmm. And we done our whole show on that. And that's what's missing out of our government. And, you know, I was going somewhere with that, and I just went blank.
You know, Donald Trump, I think he's God's man in the office, but he's not a man of God.
Yeah, but
I mean, he does some stuff that's pretty.
But see, though, there's been people like that, Dave, throughout creation, but they've listened to God, and God, they made themselves a vessel of God unbeknown. However, in the end, so many of these people wind up being great people.
But the thing about Donald Trump is that he will not turn the other cheek.
No.
He will slap you as harder than you slapped him. And that's a fact. Yeah. He will slap you. And that's just the way he is.
And you find people like, see, God had men like that all throughout the Bible. Mm-hmm. And folks, real quick, 1-800-508-5431, Facebook friends.
It's 1-800-508-5431.
Exactly.
In case you missed it.
We do have our Facebook monitored by the Janet. And, you know, she won't get off of me over a pay raise, so I'm going to have to talk to her husband. He's going to have to give her a pay raise.
I gave her $1. I don't think she made a dime.
But I want to appreciate her coming doing this for us, Dave.
Yeah, she's sweet. And I don't care what you say about her, Lester. She's sweet. When she's not around, she's still sweet.
But you guys on Facebook have any questions, send us a question, and she'll relay it to us, and we'll answer it the best we can. Better yet, Facebookers, call in. Try this new telephone system out that we have. What's that number, Dave?
That number is 1-800-508-5431.
All right. Now, the ungodliness of what, and the reason we bring the Bible into this, Dave, is because the foundation of our government is inseparable, okay, from religion.
On Judeo-Christian law.
Judeo-Christian law. That's even more, when you say that, that has a lot more authority than the word religion, don't it?
Mm-hmm.
And, but see, there's hope. I know where I was going with that comment. We spent our whole show last week on the embassy being restored back into Jerusalem. Now, that land will remain forever and ever. Mm-hmm. I used to say, and the Lord checked me on this one day, I used to say, well, there's only 2 pieces of ground, of land that God himself gave away, and it was Israel and the United States. One day, it just clicked in my head like you flipped the light switch on, and America was loaned to us.
Exactly.
America will not always be America, Dave.
God gives the dimensions of Israel.
Exactly.
He says from the river of Egypt, which is the Nile, all the way north to where Lebanon is, to Syria, mm-hmm. on over into Iraq, all of Jordan, all the way down through Saudi Arabia. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's huge. The land area.
Yeah.
It's probably 100 times bigger than what they've got now.
Right. And our government has got away from the Judeo-Christian values over the years. But now, like I've been saying in my research, Dave, I've done a lot of digging into what's going on now. Now the House Freedom Caucus, they threatened to draw up impeachment papers on Rosenstein. The FBI director, he's stalling on these documents. Mm-hmm. They redact everything and getting just back to, that's lawlessness is what they're doing.
Sure it is.
And, excuse me. But I did get a memo from a friend of mine the other day. And there's several members of Congress. They've announced a 12-page resolution for a special counsel to investigate the DOJ, FBI, Uranium One, Clinton Foundation, spying on Donald Trump's team. Now they're saying 2 FBI agents, was planted to spy on the Donald Trump team before the election. Mm-hmm. And they want to vote in Congress on this resolution. Also, they want to investigate Mueller and what he's doing right now. Now, I judge there's nobody harder on Jeff Sessions than me and Judge Janine. And she set him on fire the other night. And I've been the same way about Jeff Sessions. Before he was appointed to that post, I had a lot of respect for the man. I held him in high esteem. He's supposed to have been a born-again Christian. And that carries a lot of weight to me, and with me. And but now, I pray that I'm wrong, David, because I've been setting him on fire.
He's a wimp.
But now, my sources, and I don't mean I have secret inside information. This is what I've redacted. From the sources that I've dug down that a lot of that a lot of you don't see on the media. You got to go looking for it. But these sources tell me be patient, just wait. They are convinced, and I pray they're right, Dave. They're convinced that Jeff Sessions is getting these indictments together on these people. And, he's working on this, and he can't go public with it right now.
Well, I heard it.
And I hope they're right. And I'll make a public apology to Jeff Sessions if I'm wrong,
Well, I heard the FBI local office in Little Rock is investigating the Clinton Foundation from Little Rock. And I also heard, well, everybody knows that the guy that from Salt Lake City that was a special investigator for the
I can't think of his name.
I don't remember his name either, but he's supposedly doing an investigation too on all this mess.
Yeah.
And he has the authority, the way I understand, to get a grand jury and to indict.
Well, see, that's what we need, and that's the thing about a special counsel. See, they can subpoena, they can draw up indictments, but they're slow. A special counsel slow, but see, I don't think that your investigative bodies inside the government right now. Now, I don't trust the DOJ to police themselves. I don't trust the CIA or the FBI to do their own internal investigations. I wouldn't trust that no further than I could throw a Cadillac. I do believe that we need an outside source. And I would like to see a special counsel. However, if what I'm hearing is true, Dave, and I pray it is, I'm impatient, justice. And when you say that, what is justice? When you see people in the government walk when they commit all kind of heinous crimes, and we can't even drive 10 mile an hour over the speed limit, and we're getting a $150 ticket. Where's justice?
Les, the thing about it, and maybe it's just me. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but where's James Comey been the last couple weeks? I ain't heard hiding her hair out of him.
Maybe he's with Stormy Daniels because they used to see her hiding her hair from her.
Well, something's going on with that because I haven't heard anything from him.
Yeah,
and it's been at least 2 or 3 weeks.
Well, see, he went on this big old book tour,
right?
And he was out there gloating and pushing that book. And these people are so arrogant, Dave. This is what they do, and they believe in their mind that they can convince people of their own lies, to believe their lies. It's not that they believe what they're saying themselves, but they're so arrogant they think they have you duped.
I think Trump ought to name James Comey the giant liar.
Boy, that's yeah.
Because he's like 6'8", something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of a giant liar.
Yeah.
That'd be a good nickname for him. The giant liar.
Put him and Bill O'Reilly.
Little Marco, but this guy, since he's not little, he's a giant. You got to call him a giant liar.
I'd like to see him and Bill O'Reilly get in the octagon. They're both 6'8".
I take O'Reilly.
I got 5 on. I got 5 on O'Reilly.
Yeah.
But now here's this. I've been one of these whistleblowers, Dave, and he's a former CIA officer. And his name is Kevin Sipp, and he's a whistleblower. And they've tried to destroy him and say all kinds of things to discredit him. But now, this is right out of his own mouth. He said that the Clintons is running a global financial crime spree. That it's a criminal
crime syndicate.
Yeah. Now this is out of his own mouth, and now he said there'll be a constitutional crisis in that we could see congressmen, senators, former directors of the FBI, and the CIA perp walked after they received charges. DOJ officials, congressmen, and senators I would love to see this. Now, this is coming out of this whistleblower's mouth, that he's looking for this to happen. I would love to see on Fox News the law enforcement just go into Congress and take them out in droves.
Get this, what you just said, I heard today is about to happen. That I heard on Fox News, I think it was this morning or last night, that there are many, many FBI agents that are wanting to be subpoenaed by the U.S. Congress so they can blow the whistle on these, on Comey and all of the bunch.
Right.
And they're anxious to testify before Congress and blow the whistle.
Well, Dave,
It's all going to come out.
You remember me a few shows ago, three shows ago, I told you about Tommy Collins, and I told you, and you can find her on Facebook, America Restored. There is like, I got the paper somewhere. There's over 100 informants that wants to come forward and testify, whistleblowers, former and current CIA agents. Little drips and drabs is coming out that's giving me hope that Drain the Swamp, that Donald Trump
You know how you
really knows what he's doing.
You know how you kind of lift the plug on the drain on the bathtub and it's kind of seeping out?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you pull it real hard and it all starts going down.
Yeah.
Well, that's maybe what's going to happen with the swamp.
Well,
It may be coming all at once that the swamp is going to drain.
and that's what I'm hearing. That's what my sources is telling me. That's what my information's telling me. You know, and it's just so hard, Dave, to be this patient, man. But I have hope that we'll see justice. And, you know, I hope Jeff Sessions is behind this. I hope he comes out with the big Superman cape on and the hero of this. I would love for Jeff Sessions and Donald Trump to be the heroes of this, you know. And there's 17 whistleblowers right now that has not come forward yet. They want protection. They want deals from the government that they'll protect them, protect their children. Because these people, they've been whistleblowers, folks, that's been found dead, shot in the head a couple times, and they rule it a suicide. Look what happened to Vince Foster. Vince Foster was found in what was that, Marcy Park up there in Washington, D.C. He had carpet fibers on his suit. The report said he walked from the car, went out to the where they found him and committed suicide. Okay, and the gun was in his right hand, but he was left-handed, or vice versa. But the man he had floor-shine shoes on, never had a speck of dust on his shoes. Somebody carried him out there and dumped his body. And things like that. You know, like I say, this is not.
I remember that young guy that got killed in Washington a couple
shot
years
him
ago.
in the back.
That
Yeah.
was worked for the DNC.
Yeah, I can't think of that poor kid's name.
I believe he was.
He was murdered. Yeah,
I think that was a hit on him.
He was fixing to come out and turn on Hillary Clinton. Oh shucks, I can't remember that young man's name. I feel so sorry for his parents, but he was fixing. I don't know. I don't remember the whole story, Dave. But they say he was.
They said it was a robbery, but there wasn't anything stolen.
Nothing stolen. Had his wallet on him.
Mm-hmm.
He had his watch on him. But now this, like I say, you know, we got hope, and we see bits and pieces, Dave. But this Kevin Sips ship, he says you're going to be stunned and amazed when this cuts loose. And he said that Hillary was running a financial laundering business, money laundering business through them servers, you know, and all, you know, I mean, it's this stuff is this is sci-fi stuff, man. You know,
the reason Obama
he's right in the middle of
wanted Hillary to get out of this because he was involved too. Every time they communicated, him and Hillary, that he knew that his email was not going to a .gov address.
Exactly.
He knew it was going to a private server because he's the one that addressed it.
Oh yeah,
he sent it, so he had to know where it was going, and that's why she got away with it, because he knew that he had to let her get away with it.
Yeah, well, and that's just like where'd that come from? Now, this is from Mr. Kroger. Justice Scalia. Remember when they found Justice Scalia dead? I agree with you, Daniel. That was very suspicious. He was found, they say, with a pillow over his face. Okay, he was whisked out of there.
He was on a hunting trip, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was on a hunting trip, and they took him straight to the funeral home and bombed him, done all kinds of things that his family didn't even know about. That was covered up like right now. And I think the man was murdered, Daniel. I think the man was murdered so that they could put a liberal on the Supreme Court. Because Justice Scalia
didn't work out that way, though, did it?
He was one of the greatest.
He had a good mind.
Yes, he was one of the greatest Supreme Court justices in history that sat on that Supreme Court. If our Supreme Court was full of him, people like him, brother, America would be.
What I like about him is he thought that the Constitution did not evolve. It remained the same. The Constitution was the Constitution, and that there was no evolving.
It wasn't a living document.
Exactly. That he didn't believe that homosexuals should be able to get married, and all these other laws, the abortion law, all these things were passed because the Constitution supposedly evolved.
Yeah.
And to allow this.
Right. And see, they're trying to do the same thing with the Bible. The liberals are. They want it a living document. Well, it don't apply. It's 2,000 years old. It don't apply to the day. They didn't have the knowledge we have. They didn't live like blah blah blah. So we got to modernize the Constitution. We got to modernize the Bible to bring it up to our standards, to where we live today. That's hogwash, Dave. It's written in stone, brother. Now, the Constitution's got provisions to be amended, but the Bible don't. It is what it is.
That's God's word.
And but
God doesn't change because He's perfect already.
He's already.
So what can you change to?
As of now, this is the earliest I could find, Dave. In 2015, government employees outnumbered manufacturing employees 1.8 to 1. When you had more government employees, almost twice as many employees, 1.8, 1.8 government employees to 1% manufacturing employees. That's the kind of government we have today. And folks, we've got a few minutes here, but it's amazing. Now this is 2015, as soon as I could find. There were 21 million. This is federal, state, and local in every state. This is all 50 states and our federal government. There were 21,995,000 employed by federal, state, and local government in the United States in August of 2015. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, there was only 12,329 employed in the manufacturing sector. Now, brother, that just blows me away. And there's politicians. See, that's twice as many, almost.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got politicians that say, "Oh, our government's not too big. That's not the problem." That is part of the problem, David. Is our government is so bloated that it's just simply pathetic. We don't have time to go over all the numbers, but there is, including our military and all their cabinet positions, right now today, there's over 4 million employees. Over 2 million of them employees do not include the military. That's just in the federal government alone. This 21 million, that's all 50 states and the federal government. Man, that's way too many people.
I think Trump's going to keep that number as low as possible. I think Trump's going to be a great president.
I think he will too.
I think the way he started out, I think he's going to be a really great president.
David, I think that he's going to be reelected. Real quick, they say that Kim Jong Un is going to back out of this deal. I don't think. I'm going to make a prediction right now. Okay, there's reporters going over tonight to watch him dismantle his program over there. That's the silo and stuff. They're going to tear that down. There's reporters going over right now to watch it. And we've got 1 minute left, Dave. And I think that Kim Jong-un is going to go through with this. I don't think that he's going to back out. I make a prediction that he goes through with this. Trump makes history.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But we'll see. We'll find out soon enough.
You sound a little bit doubtful there.
I don't know. I just kind of don't trust.
I don't trust him.
I mean, after all the effort that he put in to build up his nuclear weapons, it seems amazing to me that he all of a sudden would change his mind. And I really don't think the Chinese want him to change his mind.
Right.
I think the Chinese want to keep that buffer between them and Korea.
Yeah. All right, we got about 20 seconds. Folks, God bless you. Thank you. We'll see you next week on Unscheduled with Les Skymo and the Dave. God bless.
Revolution, back control the sound. So shooting rockets to the moon. Kids growing up too soon. Politicians say more taxes will solve everything. And the band played on.